Mr. Mercer, Inc. magazine has invited me to have the distinct privilege of interviewing you, and we've talked on several occasions, and I do know some things about you, but for those of us who may not know anything about you, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you grew up, and where you came from, I guess.
Well, for purposes of identity, my name is Christopher C. Mercer, Jr. I was born in the happy little town of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, in the year of 1924. Talking about being born in background, something unique about my birth. I was Caesarean. I was born in Davis Hospital. That does not register with a number of people. The Davis Hospital was the white hospital. It didn't start admitting blacks until the 1970s. I was born there in 1924. I grew up in the segregated city of Pine Bluff and went to the segregated schools. I finished Merrill High School in 1942. I went out to what was then the epitome of learning in Arkansas for blacks, A&M College. And entered there as a freshman in 1942 and finished there in 1946.
You've had several firsts in your lifetime. As I've said privately and publicly, when I was in law school, I used to go by the Six Pioneers room in Fayetteville, and one of those six pioneers was yourself, along with Hunt, Brantley, Haley, and a couple others. And so you had the opportunity to be one of the first African Americans to go to, or blacks to go to, University of Arkansas School of Law.
I hope that has some significance. There were a few of us that did what you call integrating the law school at that particular time. There were 6 persons in the first wave of blacks that were admitted to school who have now been dubbed by the university as the Six Pioneers. The first one to enter the school was a graduate of A&M College from Texarkana, Silas Hunt. Silas Hunt was admitted to the university in February of 1948.
Right.
That was a long time before Brown versus Board of Education.
Right.
And it was the first white university in the South to admit blacks without a lawsuit, though he was admitted under what turned out to be adverse circumstances. I'll comment on that in just a minute. The second black to enter was Jackie Shropshire. Jackie Shropshire was a graduate of Wilberforce University. He was from Little Rock. And Jackie was admitted in September of 48. Silas in February of 48, which was the second semester of the 47-48 school year. Jackie was admitted the first semester of 48-49 school year. Then the third and fourth, depending on who's telling the story. If I'm telling the story, I'm the third. If George Hill is telling the story, he's the third. The third and fourth was admitted in September of 1949. George Hill's dad was Dean of Agriculture at A&M College for many, many years. And George Haley's older brother, Alex Haley, is the author of Brooks.
That's right.
George was admitted to the University of Arkansas before Alex wrote Brooks. So George was the celeb Haley at that particular time.
Well, one of the things I can say is this. As a young lawyer, we file the lawsuits we want to file now. We kind of have it pretty good. But I talked with John and several other older attorneys, and he told me about a time in which you may file a civil rights lawsuit, or you may file a lawsuit and you'd have to be out of town by sundown. Being a black lawyer in a time of, I guess, segregation and things of that nature, what was that like?
Who wrote the poem Life to Me Ain't Been No Crystal Stair? I've seen a lot of splinters on the floor, and it hadn't been that long ago. The young people of the day don't know what they inherited. It hadn't been that long ago that it was not only hazardous and dangerous to your health and physical well-being, but that you weren't going to get consideration for. When I came to Little Rock, practiced law, well, I say, and was there were still segregated water fountains in the courthouse. There were black fountains, and there were white fountains. Colored, or they say colored, that was the apropos thing prevalent at that time. Colored and white. Even where you paid your taxes, hear me now, even where you paid your taxes, there was a white interest and a colored interest. The Central High crisis, which is 50 years ago in 2007, 52 years ago now, when they sent federal troops in here to stabilize that thing and accompany the kids to school. That didn't integrate all of Little Rock. The sit-ins downtown to integrate the counters and things didn't start until the early 60s. There was an article in last Sunday's paper. I don't know whether you saw it in last Sunday's paper by Frank James and the kids from up there at Philander Smith College who were doing the sit-in in Woolworth, in Walgreens, 62, 63, 64. That may be before some of you were born, but in the course of human events, that's not that long ago. When I started practicing law in Pine Bluff, I didn't know anything about the courtroom. Lawrence Dawson, and I think Lawrence is still living, he was chancellor down there for years. He was municipal judge, and I was trying a case in his court. My client was a black lady who had a record, had a pulling the seat in Pine Bluff. And the white police officer that investigated the wreck, she had a record with a white lady. No, that was serious. I was trying the case because I was saying that she didn't violate the rules of the road, that the other person had violated the rules of the road. But the police officer was up there testifying. And he kept referring to her, the nigger woman. And I kept correcting it. And I finally said, Your Honor, I would like for the court to show respect for one of our citizens. I said, her name is not Nigger. It is Mrs. Johnson. Say this about Lawrence Dawson. That was in 1954. The municipal court at that time, you know where they got a complex now, was down at Barracue and State. At the southwest corner of Barracue and State, everything was that. City Hall, municipal court, everything, county jail, county jail was right behind it, county courthouse is where it is now, that's corner of Barracue and Main. Lawrence Dawson, and the way the municipal court was set, they had a door in the wall where you come out of the jail into the courtroom this way. Judge Dawson took a recess. He said, I want every police officer that's over there now to come in and hear this. Boy, he admonished that officer. He chewed him down. He said that nobody would ever be disrespected in my courtroom ever anymore. He would address citizens and give them their proper title. Yes, sir, no, sir, Mr. Boy, it was so tense there, you could cut it with a knife. I was the first black to have a meaningful position in the county courthouse in Little Rock. And that was in 1967.
What was that?
I was appointed deputy prosecuting attorney. Supposedly the first black deputy prosecuting attorney in the South. But I know in Arkansas, not the South. Right?
Recently, 2 African-American judges were removed from office. There have been allegations race played a role in their removal. And, you know, of course, with those judges, several other strong black lawyers being disbarred, do you think that race plays a role in those removals?
The irony of living in America, race plays a role in most of our endeavors. What are the merits and demerits of those cases? Probably would be unfair to a number of the parties for me to try to analyze them and dissect them. Do I think that race may have had played a role in it? Yeah.